Hello, hello, friends. Good evening. I could not be more excited to see everybody. Last week, I wasn't sure if I was going to make it. I had a work trip that was kind of up in the air, but I'm here and I'm happy about it. So, we're going to do some fun nails this week. Now, unfortunately, I still have to consider my nails this week for a work project that I'm on, and I'm going to be on camera, so I couldn't do the bright glittery nails that I am currently craving. Like, I just want something that is like summer color, you know? Like, I need it in my life. But I needed something neutral, so I found kind of like a middle ground. So it's a neutral manicure, but with a little pop of a little something something, so that way we can still have some fun without being totally boring with just plain neutral nails. So tonight we are going to be doing some neutral nails, but on our accent nail, we're going to be doing a light marble design. I say light because yes, it's technically a marble, but because I'm just doing it with my neutral color, it's not very aggressive. It's not going to pop all that much, but that's okay because we just want something light. And then to make it like a little more extra, I'm going to add on some foils. So I'm very excited about it. So here is a look at what we're going to be doing tonight. So again, we're just doing, let me get my camera angle all sorted for you guys. So yeah, so we're just going to be doing these neutral nails, and like I said, we've got a little marble action, very subtle on the ring finger with a little bit of foils. So before we get going, let's start with what products we're going to be using tonight. So for dip liquids, I haven't used them in a while. Maybe it was a few weeks ago, but it feels like a while because these dip liquids were my first love. So I started out dipping my nails using one company. And, you know, as a beginner, obviously things are not going to be perfect. And so I thought I was a lot of the problem, you know? But then I switched over to these liquids and they were great and they made such a huge difference with my application. And they are the Virgo and Gem liquids. I love these. They're my first love. I love them so much. So we're going to be using these for our dip powder mani tonight. And then as far as colors go, again, very neutral. So we are going to be using Runway by Revel Nail for this neutral color that we're using. For our base white powder, we are using Porcelain by West Coast Dips, which is my favorite white dip powder. White dip powders can be really hit or miss because of the pigment into them. They can be really chunky, but this one applies quite nice for a white powder. Absolutely love it. And then we're going to encapsulate our design with Vivian by Revel Nail, which is their clear powder. So that's what we're going to be doing tonight. And then for the foils, I have these here. These are shared in my... You know, if you go over to my TikTok profile, they're shared there. These are like a rose gold, and this kit came with like so many different foil colors, which is perfect. So you always have something to match every single manicure. So Allie, thank you for hitting that like button. I'm so excited that we've got familiar faces in here tonight. So this is great. All right, friends. So first thing we're going to do is I've already prepped my nails. I've already applied my tips. So we're actually just going to be going in and we're going to apply all of our normal layers. So we're going to be dipping every finger except the ring pretty normal. So using my typical TikTok apex building method. And then on the ring finger, I'm just going to do the first 3 dips and then we'll do the 4th dip in the marble and then encapsulate and clear. So I like to apply any of my designs, whether it be chunky glitter, a marble, whatever. I like to apply them to a smooth surface. So that's why I do it this way. It works for me. And once I get something that I like, I stick with it. So that's what we're going to be doing tonight. So let's go in and let's get our powders opened up. So this is Runway by Revel Nail, and then our white again is Porcelain by West Coast Dips. So we are, I see Smudge join. I'm seeing familiar faces. Hello, friends. All right, so let's get our first dip. And for those of you just joining, the liquids we're using are my first love, Virgo and Gem. So we're going to grab our base liquid. And on this first dip, we're going to apply our liquid to the entire nail. So we are going to start. Sadie, thank you so much for hitting that like button. I appreciate it. All right, so we're going to grab our base liquid and we are going to start in the middle of the nail and push back. So this is how we avoid flooding the cuticles and getting anything on the skin. It's also how we make sure that we have very clean, neat cuticle lines. Smudge, thank you for hitting that share button. Happy Wednesday. Chelsea, I was. So I was supposed to go out of town on a work trip, but it got canceled. It was super last minute and it ended up falling through. So I am here. So that is why I'm here tonight. I emailed out the alert to everybody kind of late because I was running late today. But yeah, I'm here and I'm very happy about it. So perfect. Okay, so we're going to do this first dip. So we're going to start our brush in the middle of the nail and we're going to push back to the cuticle area as close to the skin as possible but without touching, and then pull forward, and then we're going to swoop it along the sides and apply a nice thin even layer across the entire nail. And then we're going to dip into the powder, tap off the excess. We're going to grab a toothpick. This is our little hero here, and we're going to run that along the cuticle line area to make everything nice and neat on that first dip. So yay, Allie, I'm so happy. Smudge and Chelsea, thank you for hitting that share button. I appreciate it. For those of you who are just jumping in, this is the look that we were doing tonight. So like I said, I've got some work projects going on and it's gonna require me to have kind of some toned down nails. So I wanted to do a neutral manicure tonight, but like we had to add something. We couldn't just like leave it a plain neutral nail. So we're gonna do a marble nail accent with the foils. So just for you guys who are just joining in, that's what we're up to tonight. Anna, I have missed you. I'm so glad you are here. Yes, Debs, Virgo and Gem are the game changer. That's what we're using tonight. Marissa, no, like I said, I had kind of a last minute work trip that was coming and floating around and it ended up not going through. So I am here and I'm very happy about it. Thank you, Fancy Pants. It's good to see you. All right, friends, so let's continue dipping. So again, we're going to dip every finger pretty normally, and then we're going to get into the marble design and adding the foils at the end. Sip and Dip is here. Oh my gosh. It's so good to see you. Hopefully I do a little more justice to this than I did to your rose quartz tutorial. Oh, Debs, I'm so happy to hear that. Virgo and Gem really is a game changer. Oh, Fancy, I appreciate the sentiment. So a pleasure for me as well to have you here for sure. All right, so dipping into that second nail. So again, if you guys are wondering about how to avoid flooding the cuticle area, getting clean cuticle lines, it starts with how we apply our base liquid. So we are going to start that liquid in the middle of the nail and we're going to push back to the cuticle area as close to the skin as possible without touching, and then pull forward and then kind of like swoop her along the edges, applying a nice thin even coat to the nail. And then we are going to dip into the powder, tap off the excess, grab our toothpick, and we're going to run that along the cuticle lines to make sure everything is nice and neat. Like so. Hello, Rebecca! Oh, Chelsea, that's awesome. I appreciate you sharing the love. All right. Also, friends, if you guys are looking for some amazing DIY dip nail tutorials, please go check out Sip and Dip, who is in the comments right now. You can click her profile because I watch her stuff all the time because it is fantastic. Highly recommend. You just have to be able to follow it better than I did, like on that rose quartz thing, but you know, we do our best. KK, thank you so much for hitting that like button. I appreciate it. And friends, don't be shy. Please feel free to hit that share button every time you feel ever so inclined to, you know, tell a friend about it. And don't forget to give your thumbs a workout by double tapping that screen. Oh, Rebecca, that's awesome. I do find with tips I get a nicer apex sometimes too, so I feel you on that with the flat nail beds. All right, friends, so starting in the middle of the nail, pushing back to that cuticle area as close to the skin as possible without touching, pulling forward, and then swooping the sides. I don't know how else to describe it, so we're going to describe it as swooping. And we're going to apply a nice thin even layer everywhere. And then we're going to dip into the powder, tap off the excess, grab our toothpick, trace the cuticle line to clean everything up. Now, I'm going to be using a white base for the marble nail. Again, it is as you guys can see, it is a very subtle marble. Because we're using a lighter color. So if you wanted to use this technique for a marble, you can totally switch up your base layer. You can totally switch up the color you're marbling in to get something with a little more pop. I'm just playing it safe because I need work-friendly boring nails. And this is as boring as I'm willing to go, quite frankly. So here we go. Jordan, it's on the list. I just couldn't do it for the reasons that I just said this week. But if you want a chrome tutorial, I do have one shared on my TikTok profile if you go over tutorials and nail art. So that'll walk you through how to do it. So, I'm just so glad that you joined us for a live sip and dip. That's awesome. Islala. So I like the half coverage tips myself. I just find them a lot easier to apply. Lots of people love full coverage. There's nothing wrong with full coverage. I just find for me with my flatter nail beds, these ones work much better for me. I do have a tutorial on how to apply tips as well. So if you go over to my TikTok profile on my application playlist, I do have it there for you. All right, so dipping into the white now. Again, we're going to start that brush in the middle of the nail. We're going to push it all the way back, pull forward, swoop the sides, getting nice even coverage everywhere, and then dipping into the powder. And then grab that toothpick and we're just going to trace the cuticle lines for a nice clean finish. And then we're going to swap it back to our neutral color, which is Runway by Revel Nail, for those of you that might be wondering. And then we are going to dip the pinky in. So again, starting in the middle of the nail, pushing back to the skin without touching, pulling forward, swooping the sides. And then dipping in the powder. Tapping excess, grabbing our toothpick, cleaning up those lines. And there we go, we've got dip number 1 in the books. Ah, Chelsea, you're onto something. I like that. So you're gonna have to 2 camera setup on the TikTok live studios, how you do the face and the and then I use my iPhone for the nails. So, you know, I would love to just sit on someone else's live if you wanted to take Friday nights. That would be awesome. Hello, Kay. It's good to see you. All right, friends. So now that our base liquid is dry, we are going to grab our brush. I like to use a toothbrush with the stiffer bristles to really get all that excess powder out of there. So we're just going to go ahead and brush off all of the excess powder. And then once we have that off, we are going to do our next layer. So I like to build up an apex, add a little bit of strength to the nail. So this next dip is going to be just a half dip. And then also on this dip, I also like to cap the edges just to make sure that we don't get any chips. So we're going to grab our base liquid and we're going to start just below the halfway point, and then we're going to push up to the halfway point, pull forward, and we're just going to apply to the bottom half of the nail there. And like I said, I like to cap the edges on this one, so I'm going to very lightly just run the brush over the free edge and then go ahead and dip in the powder. Mrs. Lindsay, I'm so glad you made it. Jordan, I missed the application of the tips. How do you get your dip to lay flat with the tips? So you got to make sure that you blend your tips into the natural nail. One little thing that I like to do is just run a brush with acetone on it, and then that kind of creates a seamless blend into the nail. You also make sure you can file it into the natural nail as well. Again, I go over all of that in my tip application video, so that might be a little bit easier so you can actually see what I'm doing as I'm doing it. Kay, that is awesome. I'm so glad the trusty toothpick worked for you. Oh, Rebecca, that's awesome. I actually just got a new tattoo last Thursday and I was like thinking about it. So I had those ombre nails that we did last week for mine. We're doing a half dip because we're just building up that apex. Michelle, thanks for jumping in. I appreciate you guys answering questions. Thank you. All right, so again, we're going to apply to half the dip. So starting just below that halfway point, pushing back, pulling forward, and applying to the bottom half of the nail. And again, I do like to cap my edges, so just running that brush very lightly over the edge, dipping into the powder, tapping the excess off, and then moving along to the next finger. Ah, Rebecca, we're like tattoo getting twins. What did you get? I need to know. All right, and continuing on, just getting that half dip done here. Then I need to make sure I swap to the white powder so I don't dip in the wrong one. There we go. Oh, cute, Rebecca. I love that. You have to send me a picture. I want to see now. How did you find the forearm as far as pain goes? I have one that's like right here on my arm, and I found it was okay. But I imagine yours is bigger than what mine is there, so. Okay. Half dip done, and then we're just gonna finish it off with the pinky. Yeah, that's like, I always say a cat scratch, but I think your description's actually a lot more accurate. Samara, my favorite brand of dip powder is, that's a good question. I would say I more so have a favorite brand of liquids. I'm not as picky with my powders. For liquids, Virgo and Gem, West Coast dips, and I also like the Manicure dip liquid sets. As far as powders go, I have a ton from Revel that I like. I love Virgo and Gem West Coast dips colors. 10 by Tina has some amazing colors. Who else? Panda Dips is fantastic. There's so many. Don't make me decide. All right, friends. So now that we've done that half dip, we're going to continue building up that apex. So this time we're going to go 3/4 of the way up the nail. But first, we need to brush off all that excess powder because we don't want to contaminate our base coat. The line wipe. Yeah, absolutely. I could do a post on that. So Brittany, I actually switch my manicures out every week on these lives, but I get anywhere from like 7 to 14 days usually. I find by the 14-day mark though, I do not like the grow out. And then I have all the stuff at home, so I'm like, why walk around like that? I'd rather just have a fresh manicure. So 7 to 14 days, but usually 7 because I do these manicures every week. So. All right, so like I said, friends, on this dip, we are going to do 3/4 of the way up the nail. And again, I like to cap on this one as well. So we're gonna start at about the halfway point. We're gonna push up to that 3/4 mark, pull down, and then we're gonna apply to the bottom 3-ish quarters of the nail. And just very lightly run that brush to cap those edges. Chelsea, I've started bad habits. I apologize. Like I said, Line Wife, any of those ones. As far as, I'm more picky about my dip liquids, so highly recommend Virgo and Gem West Coast dips or the Manicure set if you're looking for something a little more affordable. But as far as powders go, again, Revel has such an amazing widespread collection, so they're great that way. West Coast Dip, she makes some amazing combinations. Like some of her glitters are like amazing. So highly recommend Virgo and Jet. Like they're all great. They're all great. Yeah, exactly, Chelsea. We're just trying to get through our collection, that's all. Having a hard time with tips, they end up peeling off. So Brittany, you definitely want to make sure you prep your nail properly. So remove your cuticles. Make sure you buff really lightly, and also cleaning and dehydrating the nail. So I use a mixture of acetone to alcohol now, and it is like super reliable for preventing lifting. So you want to do that before you actually apply anything to the nail, and that's going to help it stick and last longer. Ooh, what's the TRC package? I need to know. All right, so again, guys, we're doing our 3/4 dip, starting in the middle, pushing back to 3/4, pulling forward, and applying to the bottom 3/4 of the nail, running that brush very, very lightly over the edge, and dipping. And I'm just gonna move through a couple fingers before I get back into the check, because otherwise I get too distracted, and I know this takes forever. So, Let's get through a few of these. Because, you know, we also really want to see that design in action, so. Oh, okay. Oh, right, because they renamed it, didn't they? Their subscription ones? Len Wife, you're very welcome. I hope that list at least gets you started. All right. Gotta make sure I remember to switch my colors or I'm gonna have a disaster on my hands. Oh yeah, of course, Chelsea. There you go. So it is hard to see with the lighting, but there is a little bit of marbling with the runway on the white behind the foils. But it's very light. Like I said, I'm trying to go neutral. I got to be professional this week, so I had to go with like a little bit toned down, but because it's me, I had to jack it up a little. You know, I couldn't just rock just runway by herself, you know? Yeah, these foils are my favorite. Summer, thank you so much for sending that, Rose. I so appreciate it. And friends, don't forget to double tap that screen every so often. You don't want your thumb to cramp up, so you might as well, you know, get a little workout. And be sure to hit that the share button. Share it with a friend who might be interested in doing dip powder nails at home, or someone who maybe wants to learn how to do marble nails, because we're going to be doing that shortly. KK, I've definitely had that happen. It sounds like your product's probably lifting at the cuticle, and then that's what's like causing it to chip. So just making sure that you're prepping your nails properly. I just posted a nail prep tutorial on my TikTok, so that would be worth checking out to kind of help avoid with some of those issues. Chelsea, you got to do it. The scrub method, I'm a convert. I like it now. So, Kay, thank you for the rose. I appreciate it. KK, you're very welcome. All right, so final dip on the 3/4, and then we're going to move into our final dip before getting into the marble nail and the foils. All right, so I'm just going to let that dry for a second. So, friends, I'm going to stop dipping the white finger because my next dip is going to be the marble, but I have a thing where I really like to do designs or chunky glitters or whatever over a smooth surface, so I usually give it a light buff at this point before I apply any of that. I just find it helps save hiccups later down the road. So this is my preferred method, and when I was learning, I just found it a lot easier. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to skip the white on this layer, and then on my next one, I'm going to do a full dip on every other finger and finish those up. Okay, yeah, we're doing 4 layers, but 2 of those are not full dips. They're just apex builders. So dip number 2 is halfway up the nail, and dip number 3 is 3/4 of the way up the nail. And then 2 full dips. Emily, yeah, I do have tips on right now. All right, friends, so we're gonna brush off all that excess powder before we do our 4th dip. And then again, as far as getting clean cuticle lines and not flooding that area, it's all in how we control the liquid on the nail. So the best way to do that, start in the middle of the nail, push back to the cuticle area as close to the skin as possible without touching, and then pull forward, and then swoop the sides. I don't know how else to say it, so I'm just going to say swoop the sides, applying a nice thin layer all over the nail. And then we are going to dip into the powder. Tap off the excess, grab a toothpick, and then trace the cuticle lines to make sure they're nice and neat. And then we're going to continue that on every finger except for our ring finger. Okay, I am glad. And also, Kay and Emily, I have nail prep tutorials, dip application tutorials, a whole bunch of tutorials over on my application playlist here on TikTok. So feel free to jump in and check those out, and then they'll give you like a really good step-by-step overview of everything. And hopefully that'll help. Emily, thank you so much for liking. I appreciate it. All right, so again, going in with another full dip, starting in the middle of the nail, pushing back without touching the skin, pulling forward and applying a nice, thin, even layer. Dipping in the powder, tapping off the excess, making sure we have a toothpick handy, tracing those cuticle lines, and then moving on along. What that is. Anywho, okay. Final dip. All right. So we are all done dipping. Okay, thank you for the heart. I appreciate it. Emily, I appreciate that. This is like my favorite neutral. So the thing with neutrals, my best neutral is not necessarily going to be your best neutral because it totally depends on your skin tone. So it takes a little trial and error, but Runway for me is like, if I need a neutral, that's my go-to. I love this one. And it's by Rebel Nail for those of you who are wondering. All right, so now that we've got all of our dips done, I am going to brush off the excess powder. I'm gonna activate and cure everything. I'm gonna buff. And then once I've got a nice smooth surface on that ring finger, we're going to go in with the marble design and then also apply the foil. So for those of you just jumping in, this is what we're gonna be doing on the ring finger. So there's a very, very light marble design on there because we're using this color. And then we're gonna apply some foils over top. Skies. Oh, so the brush saver is used if you happen to contaminate your brush. So if your base liquid or your top coat gets hard, you use your brush saver. So what you're going to do is unscrew your brush saver brush, put that in your base coat or whatever it is you've contaminated, put your other one into the base brush saver. You need to leave them for about 24 hours, I believe it is, for it actually to work. You can't just like swap it right away. I learned that the hard way and I thought I messed it up, but you actually have to give it time for the brush to soften again. But that's how you use your brush saver. Hopefully that helps. All right, let's do this. We're gonna grab our activator, and for those of you who are new to dip powder, the reason you do not need a UV light for these is because our activator liquid actually cures everything. So we're going to apply a very generous layer to the nail. Scott, you are very welcome. I hope that helps. Sorry for the wiggly camera, friends. Terry Lynn, I am using my Virgo and Gem liquids this evening. My very first love. These were a game changer for me when I was dipping my nails. So now I like to be a little extra with my activator. Oh, my face is gone. I'm coming back, friends. One moment. Sorry, my camera always times out, and that's why we always have this little blip in the system, but I'm back. All right, so we're gonna let that cure, and once it cures, we're gonna get into shaping the dip and buffing it out so we're ready for top coat. And also ready to do our marble design. So I prefer to use a curve file. The reason I love curve files is because they do a great job of buffing around that cuticle area and getting it cleaned out without roughing up the skin. So we're cured. So if you guys want to know if you're ready to buff or not, if you tap on your nail, hopefully you guys can hear that. I'm just tapping like this. Once you hear those taps, you know that you're good to go. So we're going to grab our curve file, and I'm just going to start by going around that cuticle area just to blend into the natural nail. This is really important to make sure you don't get anything snagging on your hair, you know? So we're just going to go around and do that first. And then once I've buffed that, I'm gonna go down the side. So I like to go down one side first, getting out all the major lumps, anything like that. This is your little buffing ASMR for the evening as well. And then we're gonna go down the other side. Again, just shaping that dip. And then I like to just run it really quickly over the top just to make sure. So you guys can actually see the variance in the color. So here is where the file is hitting, and here's where the file hasn't hit. So if you've got this variance in your nail, it means the file's not hitting everywhere. It means you still have lumps, and we gotta keep going to smooth it out. Kristen! I'm so happy. It doesn't matter that you're late. You're here. You made it. And right before we do the nail art. So, like, you basically came at the best time. I got a buff still. And then, friends, if you do happen to get a little ski jump at the end of your nail, mine's not, like, really there, but just so you guys know, you can just kind of run your brush or your file down the nail like this, and that'll help smooth that out. So we're pretty much good. We'll give it a nice light buff. You can see we still have a little bit of variance. Can you guys see that? I don't know with the lighting. There's still a little bit of variance where you can tell the file's not quite hitting. But that's okay. We're going to get it when we get into our other lighter buffer. Michaela, I do 4 total, but dip number 2 and dip number 3 are a 1/2 and a 3/4 dip, so they're not full dips. It's just to help build that apex up a little bit. Terry Lynn, this is a 180 file. All right, so then once I'm happy and I've got all the major lumps out, I'm gonna grab my file, and I do all of my shaping before I actually dip. So all I need to do now is just go along the edge and sharpen my shape up. Like so. And then we're gonna move on to the next finger and do the same thing 4 more times. Oh, Allie, I missed your first comment. What is it? Oh, nice. Well, good luck to you. It's a totally different experience. Like, I give nail tech so much credit because for me personally, like, sure, you got to learn how to use your non-dominant hand, but it's a whole thing doing someone else's nails. The only nails that I do that are not my own are my niece's when they come over, which I love to do. So, but yeah, other than that, I don't ever do anyone else's nails other than my own. But power to you, Allie. I believe in you. You've got this. But yeah, maybe hold off on the payment. You don't want to owe anybody anything, you know, just in case. Chelsea, yeah, so when I did the scrub method, I still did my apex, but I just reversed kind of the order that I applied it in so that I could do the last 2 full layers to scrub. And that's what I found worked for me, but you can kind of switch up how you do the layers. You can skip off the apex if you don't need it. If you're dipping over full coverage tips, you don't necessarily need to build an apex the same way as if you're doing your natural nail, so, you know. Terry Lynn, the scrubbing. So if you go over to my TikTok profile, I just posted a tutorial on the scrub ombre method, so that'll actually walk you through it and you can get a visual, but essentially it's a way to apply an ombre by taking your dip powder in a brush and then scrubbing it into your nail with on a lighter color and then staining it, and that'll create an ombre effect. Okay, so we're good there. Just kind of sharpen those edges up. I'm gonna hold my finger down so I can see. Okay, and then moving along. Allie, it wouldn't be a bad change. I feel like it'd be like a little relaxing, a little outside of doing nurse duties. But kudos to you for being a nurse, because that is a hard job that deserves all the appreciation in the world, because it is not easy. Not that being a nail tech is easy either, but, you know, I feel like your clients are all happy to be there for the most part. It'd be a fun job to have. Ooh, we got a couple nurses in here. Chelsea's a nurse as well. You guys are awesome. My best friend is also a nurse, so I have all the love in the world for what you guys do. I also can't handle the sight of blood, so we need people like you guys in the world, you know? I faint. I will never forget the time. It was Take Your Kid to Work Day, and my nurse was an RPN in Canada. That's a registered practical nurse, and she worked in a retirement home at the time. And so I went to Take Your Kid to Work Day with her. And so we were going around with all the residents. She was doing her rounds, handing out meds. And she was like, Kayla, do you want me to test your blood sugar? Because she had been doing this to other clients. And at this time, I was like 12 or 13, okay? I didn't know what that really meant or what was involved in it. And I was like, yeah, sure, Nana, like whatever. So she's like, hold out your finger. And so she did. And guys, I am terrible with needles. Like, yes, I have tattoos. Somehow I've mentally like put those in a different zone, but I'm terrible with needles. Like, I live in a small area. I can't go to a hospital anywhere in my close radius because I know people that work there, and I can't have anyone see how I behave in a hospital. And so this was kind of like one of those warning signs. So she pricked my finger to see what my blood sugar was. And I didn't know, and it drew blood, and it's the tiniest little amount of blood. I lost it. I thought I was gonna faint. Like, I immediately saw black stars. I had to go to the bathroom and like sit down, and just like my stomach felt like I was gonna throw up. It was awful. So it was basically at that moment that I was like, don't think I'm cut out to be a nurse. So thankful for you guys that manage it and have tough stomachs. The ER, actually, Allie, my best friend, she's in the ER, and it's, yeah, again, it's, someone has to do it, and I'm so appreciative of you guys who do, because it's a lot. You guys can laugh at my expense. This is why I couldn't be a nurse. This is how I ended up working in marketing behind computers, I guess, was the moral of that story. All right, we are getting there, buffing it out. All right, and then we don't have to do too much. We're just gonna kind of make sure that this is nice and smooth before we do that marble, but we don't want to buff too much because we've only got one layer on the top there. Erica, I'm using Runway by Rebel Nail and then Porcelain by West Coast Dips, and then I'm gonna be applying a little foil on top. Yeah, KK, I don't know. I mean, I've been a woman for quite a while too, and I'm still squirmish with blood, but Kate, so if your gel is peeling off, number one, skip your second activator. So after you buff your nail, do not apply that second activator. You're gonna go right in with your base gel. Also make sure that you cap the, you're gonna go right in with your gel. Also make sure you cap the edges to avoid chipping or peeling as well. You can add a base gel layer if you want to have a little extra insurance, but definitely skip that second activator because that's something that I didn't realize at first, that you have to do with applying gel over dip. All right, friends, we are almost there. I mean, buffing is usually the most boring part of a manicure, but I love when you guys are here because it's the best time for me to just chit-chat. It's my favorite part of my day. All right, so I'm just gonna sharpen my shape up, make sure I got everything. And guys, I'm just gonna do my up close because I'm blind and I can't see anything, so I just gotta... Also with these lighting, sometimes the lighting makes this weird. I'm gonna wash my face, make sure I don't do weird faces. Why is that wonky? There we go, okay. Perfect, perfect, perfect. We're looking good, friends. We're looking good. I apologize. I know you guys are here to watch me do this. I just need a second to do it up close. What I was just doing so that I can see. Okay. Now, guys, one thing that I like to do that's hard for me to kind of do on camera, but I will say, like, if you're trying to get your shape right, I like to hold my hands out. There, now you guys can see, and then that allows you to kind of see the evenness of each side, and holding them back like this really does help, just kind of making sure that your shape is how you want it to be, not all wonky, like this one. You little bugger. Okay, there we go. Huh, not getting away from me. Okay, I think that is good. I think we're in good shape. Okay, I'm gonna take my little orange buffer block, I'm just gonna do a quick smooth out. And then I'm gonna activate and I'm going to top coat every finger except for the, actually no, I'm not going to do that. We're gonna top coat all together. I forgot we're not doing gel. So actually, we're gonna do the marble for next. I know, Chelsea, it's so great, because you know why? Actually, I can show you quick. It's because my mic is over here now. So this is the camera that shows my face, and underneath I have the mic. So back, and then obviously you guys can kind of see my camera here. So back when people used to complain about hearing me breathe, it's because I would only shoot on my iPhone and the mic's right here, right? So I would be like, like breathing right into the mic. So having the mic over here makes it a little less awkward. So it makes a huge difference. Phelan, you're here? I just saw your name come up when you hit the like button. Thank you so much. It's good to see you. Lorena, yeah, you can apply, I used to apply the Opie Nail Envy before I dipped. You can definitely do that. What I recommend is just making sure that it dries completely. Do a couple coats and then just like buff the surface of it really lightly just to rough it up before you dip over top. All right, friends, we are smooth and we are ready to marble. So I've kind of already started the marble and I didn't want to waste it, but I'll still show you guys kind of what I did. So I am using my dip tray. You can use a cupcake liner or like small bowl, whatever you have on hand. So the first thing you want to do is put in your base powder in here. So you can see, well, there's already the other color in there. So I'm not going to add any more white because I've got plenty and I don't want to waste it. So first thing you want to do is add your base layer. In my case, it's the white. And then you're going to grab your color that you're marbling with. Now again, Runway is not a bright color. So this is not going to pop. I don't want it to pop. I just want really subtle lines kind of coming through my white. So what I'm going to do is grab this, and I've got a cuticle pusher end, and I'm just going to grab a little bit, and I'm going to like put little lines of it kind of where I'm going to be dipping my finger in. Like so. And then I'm going to tap, 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 tap. Now you can grab a toothpick or whatever and just kind of like marble out the colors very lightly, you know, just a little bit. And then tap, 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 everything smooth. And then I'm gonna grab my base coat and I'm going to apply to the entire nail. So I'm going to, before I do that, put my lid back on my dip so that I don't have any heartbreaking accidents. Whereas I do have to breathe. Ah, Kristen, we're twinning. I'm so excited. Yours is probably a little brighter than mine. Like I said, mine's very, very subtle. But then we're going to go in with foils over top to really kind of like make it stand out. So, all right. So you guys can kind of see, again, I know this is a light mix, but you can see that I've got Runway kind of laying on top of the white there. So what I'm going to do next is apply base coat to my entire nail, and then I'm going to lay it flat in here. Stressful. So we're going to, again, start in the center of the nail. We're going to push back to the skin without touching the skin, pull forward, and we're going to apply a nice healthy layer, not too thick, to the entire nail. And then I'm going to lay my finger flat in that tray. Pull it up. I'm going to grab my toothpick really quick and I'm just going to trace out that cuticle line like so. Now guys, again, you can see the color. It's hard to see that color and I know it is so faint, but this is what I'm going for on this look. And then we're gonna foil over top. So guys, from here you have two options. You could do another marble dip if you need it. I'm not going to do that. You can also just encapsulate and clear over top of this to protect it before you buff. But I want to add foils. I need something. So we're gonna add foils. Thank you, Fallon. I'm so glad you appreciate that. Heather, hello. I'm so glad to see you. We ended up showing up this week. This is great. Okay, friends, so I'm just gonna let that dry for a second. And then I'm going to grab this foil. So these are linked. If you guys are looking for nail art, you can go over to my TikTok, you know, and then apparently you get in trouble for saying certain things. So that's why I'm being so roundabout. But it's linked under nail art when you go to my TikTok profile, and it's a whole foil kit. You get so many different colors, and this rose gold is my favorite. So what I'm going to do first is I'm actually going to set this here. I'm going to grab some little tweezers. Ooh. And I'm just going to put it in here. And I'm just going to kind of tear it up just like a little bit. This stuff's pretty delicate, so we don't have to tear much. And I'm actually going to leave the pieces slightly bigger than I did on the other side so they're easier to grab. And then before we add it on, I'm just going to brush off any excess from that little marbling. Again, it kind of looks like a shadow, but that is the marbling. It is there. And then I'm going to put this out of the way. I'm going to apply, so I just take base coat. I like pretty much wipe all of it away because you don't need a lot for this to stick. And then I'm just going to start kind of like lightly, very lightly putting on base coat kind of where I want some foils to go. Grab a toothpick and place it on, and then you can actually kind of like scrape it, if that makes sense, so that way it's kind of broken up and smaller and not in a huge chunk. And then I'm going to do the same in another spot. Foils are like, well, if you can get them on your toothpick, I'm gonna wet the end a little bit, stick it on. They're very easy nail art, just to make things pop, you know? Okay, and then I want to add a little bit more at the top here. Come on, get on there. Okay, and I think that's good. I just kind of want it like a little scattered, but nothing too crazy. And so yeah, we've got some shininess. I needed a little glitz, you know, I just needed a little sparkle to make my heart happy. So now that we've got our files on there, Cass is here. Hello, friend. I feel like I've missed you in my life. The schmlink. Yes, Kristen, you knew what I meant. Lauren, so I'll give you a quick rundown. So I just put the colors in here, marbled them in, you know, with a stick, and then I laid my finger flat. I will post a tutorial or breakdown of how I did this manicure. Hopefully I can edit it tomorrow if I'm on track, but I will post something. Okay, so now we've got our foils. Now we want to encapsulate and clear so that we don't ruin these, because we're going to give a very light buff to this finger before we activate and top coat. So I'm going to grab my clear powder, and I'm just going to wipe away any excess foil that might be hanging on there. And then I'm going to apply base coat to my entire nail in a very, very thin layer. And this is going to protect the marble that we did. It's going to protect those foils, so that way we don't buff them away. Grab our toothpick, just clean out the cuticle lines, make sure that there's nothing hanging around in there. And that's it. We're gonna let that dry. Lauren, you are welcome. And then we are going to let it dry. I'm gonna wipe away the excess. I'm gonna activate. I'm gonna very lightly buff this nail, like not a whole lot, because we've already smoothed it out, which is the reason that I smooth out before I do any design, so you don't have to do any crazy buffing in case you get any funky lumps or whatever that might ruin the look, you know? So, should be good now. So I'm gonna brush off that excess. I'm gonna grab my activator, excuse me, and then activate. I'm going to be pretty generous. Thank you, friend with all the emojis in your name. And I'm just going to let that cure, and once it's cured, I'm going to, again, very lightly buff, and then we are going to activate one more time, and then we are going to top coat, and then it'll be done. And it's going to be great. I'm excited. I actually, you know what, like I said, I really wanted some kind of bright glitter situation this week. That was what my heart wanted, but because of a work project that I'm doing, I have to be on camera. I need my nails to be a little bit more toned down for this project, which really, it hurts my feelings when I can't just, like, you know, do what I want to do. So this is like a nice in between, you know. I still feel like I'm getting a little bit of what I wanted, but we've got professionalism going on as well. So great mix of the two. So highly recommend this manicure if you're looking for something neutral, or if you're like me and you got to wear boring-ish nails for some reason. So we're going to go around the cuticle area and just blend those last few dips. I don't want to do anything too aggressive here. And then very lightly go over the surface. I'm actually going to use just my little buffer block for this to clean it up. Actually, Cass, I need to tell you, where the heck did it go? I had my cuticle oil out. I was going to show you. I was actually switching it up from fruity cereal and going back to the pineapple because I love the pineapple. But I don't know where it went. It rolled off my desk, I guess. Ugh. Okay. Let's get this finished up and then I'll sort my life out. Alright, so let's make sure that we're nice and smooth. Albertina, thank you so much for hitting that follow button. I appreciate it. Alright, and then I'm just going to go around and sharpen my shape up here. So I just like to get the bottom. Sorry friends, I gotta do my up close so I can see because it looks like there's something funky going on there. Now what I did. It's like, how did I do that? It's like flat at the bottom instead of being my nice little almond that I'm going after. But I gotta see. I know you guys want to see, but I gotta get close. Oh, okay. There we go. We're better. We're in better shape now, friends. Okay, there we go. Minor hiccup. We are good. Okay, there we go. We got the shape we wanted. So, excellent. I'm pleased with that. Okay, we're done. It's a good problem to have. Ooh, Heather, I can't remember, was that the one? Oh, it was Energy that I had that was amazing as well. Honestly, all of them are good. You can't go wrong, but I would love, I think I have the rose gold one somewhere. I can't remember. Okay, I need my activator. So we're going to apply our second activator. We're going to go with the top coat. This is a time time-sensitive situation, so I'm gonna go through this really quickly before I jump into the chat again. So I'm just applying activator to all of my nails. And we're gonna get that first pop of our little marble rose foil situation. Okay, and then I'm going to grab my lint-free wipe. I'm going to wipe away all that excess powder, a very important step to avoid any potential contamination with your top coat. Oh, Allie, yes, the Alex drawers. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. I'm so excited for you. All right, so I'm grabbing my top coat. So first layer, we're going to try to avoid contact time that the brush has with the nail to avoid contamination. So we're going to do 3 very quick strokes for this first layer. So I'm going to grab top coat, and again, just like 3 quick swooshes. And then I'm going to go right away with my second layer of top coat, and this time I'm going to be a lot more precise, and I'm also going to cap the edges here. So we're going to apply our top coat nice now, making sure that we get it all over the nail. And you need to make sure that you cap your edges to avoid chips. So we're just going to lightly run that brush over the free edge. I am like very pleased with this. I'm so glad I found something with the right pizzazz. It's work friendly. And again, this is not the most exciting marble, I know, because we're using 2 very light colors, but I just wanted the foil to have a little something behind it. But again, you can use that same marble technique and you can do it with colors that pop a lot more than this as well. Which maybe we should do, because I haven't really done a marble nail, other than my attempted rose quartz that kind of turned into a marble nail. Thank you, Cass. I appreciate it. Thank you, Allie. You guys are too kind. All right, friends, there is the final look. I'm going to let that dry, and now I got to rack my brain on where my freaking cuticle oil went. Did I put it back? I think that's it right there. Okay, I put it back. Derp, derp, derp. Okay, I'll grab that in a second. We're going to let that dry, but you guys can see the final look here. Try to give you different angles with the lights. But yeah, I think we're work approved. I love this. This rose gold foil, it's amazing. And honestly, like I said, this kit came with like, oh my gosh, I think 12 different colored foils. So different shades. So it's got this like pinky rose goldy-ish. It's got different shades of gold, silver, blue, green, red, everything. So it was a great little investment that I'll probably have these foils forever because this is way too much. Thank you, Cass. Cass says to tap your screens, and it's probably a good time for everybody to exercise their thumbs, so feel free. Lorena, chrome powders. Born Pretty, I love those ones. I do have those shared if my Splink and Blio, or whatever the heck we have to say. I had them under nail art. Oop, my face is gone. 1 second, friends. I'm coming back. I'm coming back. There we go. There I am. Yeah, those are my favorite powders, and they're really good for getting the glazed donut look as well. But yeah, they're Born Pretty is the ones that I really like. You are very welcome. I hope that helps. Okay, I think we're dry. Let me grab my cuticle oil. Here's my little pineapple. I think because the weather's been nice, I've been feeling summery and like fruity cereal. Nothing will ever top my fruity cereal cuticle oil from Onyx Nail Pro, but this pineapple one, I dig. I really dig it. So we're going to use that today. So I'm going to apply cuticle oil to all of my nails. And just so you guys can see, again, this is from Onyx Nail Pro. Her cuticle oils smell fantastic. They are my favorites. Highly recommend. So that's what I'm using. so you guys can see, and then I'm just going to massage it into the nail. Super duper important to use cuticle oil regularly. If you guys have a problem with lifting, obviously prep is the huge thing, but you should also apply cuticle oil regularly as well, because it helps keep the nail flexible so it doesn't get dry and brittle and pull away from your dip. Little life lesson for you. And there we go. So that is the finished product there, friends. I'm pleased. I love it. Love it. This might be one of my favorites. Amanda, thank you for hitting that like button, friends. I appreciate it. So now I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do next week. Next week's gonna have to be jazzy, because I know that by next week these are gonna be too dull for me and I'm gonna need something bright and fun. So I guess we'll ponder on that for a little while and go from there. Amazing. I mean, Cass, I do my best. You just let me know if I need to like, is this... I'm terrible. I'm cheesy. You don't want me. Oh, man. But truly, I do love your cuticle oil so much because, I mean, obviously they're nourishing and great for you, but the smells are... I mean, with my candles and stuff like that, I don't like super smelly things anymore because I find them aggravating, but the thing that I love about these is, like, they're not overpowering. So it's like a light scent. So it's something like fresh and uplifting, but without being so overpowering that you're like, oh, you know? So love it. Love it, love it. I'll send you over my modeling headshots, Cass, and we can talk. I'm just kidding. I don't have those. We're not. I'm not being serious. Well, friends, so Kay sent me a rose and a heartbeat this evening. Thank you, Kay. It's just showing up at the top of the screen, so thank you very much. I appreciate that. Oh, man, you guys are fun. Cass, I'm so glad you joined in. I've missed you. All right, friends. Well, I have to call it an evening, unfortunately, but I'm so glad that I got to be in tonight. Like I said, I wasn't sure if I was going to be here this week because of some work stuff going on and a work trip that was kind of on the rocks. But here I am, so it's going to be great. So just to let you guys know, I do post these replays over on the other video area that you can watch things. If you guys want alerts for when I go live, if you want alerts for when those replays are available, and also if on Mondays you want me to just send you the nail tutorials and inspo that I've created, go over to my TikTok, click the thing, and if you scroll down, there's a place to enter your email. You can put your email in, and then I will send everything directly to you. So again, every Monday I call it the polished post because cute, right? Cute? I don't know. It's just basically a recap of any tutorials and nail inspo videos that you might want to see, and that way you don't miss everything. And then I do send out alerts on Wednesday before I go live, and then I also send over the replay when that's available. So that way you're never missing any fun nail content. So hello, Nicola. It's great to see you. Catching in right at the end. All right, friends. Well, unfortunately, I do have to call it an evening. So thank you, friends, for joining me this evening. It was a pleasure, as always. Thank you guys for being so fun in the chat. I love our conversations. You guys make doing nails so much more fun. Thank you to everybody who asked questions, keeping things lively. Thank you for everyone who is jumping in and helping others and answering questions. Your help is so appreciated. And, this community means so much to me. I love seeing familiar faces every week. I don't know. It just makes my heart so happy. So thank you guys. I'm so appreciative of you guys coming and hanging out every Wednesday. And also it makes doing manicures, selfishly, it makes doing manicures way more fun for me. So that's fantastic. Anywho, okay, friends. Well, I will be back live next Wednesday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, go over, sign up for those email alerts if you want everything mailed directly to you and you want to know when I'm live. Other than that, I hope everyone has a great Wednesday evening. Hope you have a great rest of your week. I hope you have an amazing long weekend. And I will see everybody next Wednesday, 5:30 p.m. EST. Have a great evening, friends. Stay safe, have fun, and I will see you then.